Good morning, everybody. I'm Mike Hudson with my co-host Greg Trainer with Accessible Hunter Podcast. Today we're blessed. We got my brother Cameron Dorn coming on, and we're getting ready to do the Marine Corps Marathon together. And wanted to get together and just chat a little bit about what we've been to, what we've got going on, give you guys a little bit more feedback. Cameron's traveling as always. He's a busy guy, but Cameron, how you doing this morning?
Doing well. Glad to be here, Mike.
Yes, sir. Where you at now, man?
I'm in Scottsdale, Arizona, man.
Scottsdale, Arizona. You're up bright-eyed, and I appreciate you getting with us. It's 10:30 a.m. here, so I know you're 3 hours behind us. What you got going on in Arizona?
Arizona, we're supporting a medical sales conference at the Talking Stick Resort here. So we get a group together, speak to them about packing their suitcase of courage, and then get them out in the morning. And we do like a mile and a quarter walk, throw in some exercises, and kick their sales conference off each day on the right foot.
There you go, man. Bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, ready to go. Get them
Before the
going.
sun's up. That's right.
Yeah. I know, man, you've been trying to train on different scenarios, one on the East Coast, one on the West Coast. Um, how's it going out there, man? I know you've been boogieing with the shopping carts and all that good stuff. I know the training's been going. How's it feeling on your end?
Oh, yeah, it's good. I mean, we're kind of writing the book on this as we were talking about. We got a great chariot ready, but once we get there, we're just going to have to get the job done. I think we come
Right.
into this planning as best we can, but it's really the perfect situation, I think, for us because we're creative, keep a positive mindset. I can run 26 miles. Like if you told me I need to go run 26 miles right now, I can just walk out that door, turn on
Right.
the CBS and do it.
Yeah.
Now, but it's not with Mike in front of me. you know, we just seeing what's going on. So that's the X factor, and we don't
Right.
know till we go.
Right. And that's the scenario. I've had a bunch of people ask me, how are you guys training if you're not together and how you're doing this and that? We kind of go with the flow. Me and Dorn have both been that same way. It is what it is.
Yeah,
Uh, it jumps back. It's the ideal setting, right? It's the Marine Corps Marathon. You improvise, adapt, and overcome, dude. And man, you don't even know. I'm beyond excited for this thing. Um, I've been getting more and more people reaching out to us saying, "Hey, we're gonna be there." There's a group, Greg, Mike, that we just did a podcast with. Burnside sent me a message this morning. There's a group out there called the Ansley Foundation, and they will have multiple chairs, and they take people um, with a cerebral palsy and some other stuff doing the same thing, Cameron. So they'll have these guest runners that just want to take these kids out, man, to get some breeze in their face, put some mileage in. So, man, it's something fantastic.
I feel the same way, man. You can't overthink it. It's going back to anything. Like, how do you train for something you never done? Well, you just got to get out there and do it first, and then
Right.
go with the flow. We're going to communicate. We've got a decade of knowing each other, if not more.
Right.
Make sure you're good. You're like, you Cam, you good? Yeah. And then we're just gonna see, not stay in the weeds about it. I'd say get it
Right.
done.
It's like anything else. You can overthink it. We're going to plan as best as possible. Greg asked me earlier, you guys taking extra equipment, we're going to bring everything we can to try to throw it at it, and just kind of pray too we don't have any breakages, right?
Yeah,
But it is what it is. You brought up some stuff because you have a unique um set. You've done this multiple times, not the Marine Corps marathon, but other marathons throughout the world. And you brought up dodging water bottles and cups. Like those are landmines for a wheelchair, and we definitely don't need to get tangled up in those weeds. So it's those things. It's those unforeseens that if you've never done one, this is awesome that we can document this along the way.
that's right.
Yeah. What all you got going on as far as travels after you leave Arizona? Is it
Uh,
straight marathon or what you got?
So travels after Arizona, I'll move to the house. My mom and dad actually came in. You met mom and dad at the world record and met
Oh
them.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
They flew in yesterday. I picked them up. They're staying in Gold Canyon. So right after this, talk about training. I'm taking all my things out of storage and loading it onto a 15-foot U-Haul. Best parents in the world. I kid you not. They're driving that U-Haul to Washington State. I'm flying to Washington, D.C. We're hanging out. Then I jump on a flight from D.C. back to Washington State at the house up in Port Angeles for 4 days to help them move everything in. Fly back to Arizona for a little more work. And then my mountain bike and road bike's here. So I'm going to take that to Laguna Beach. The next thing you know, it's November 6th.
Man, you're wide open, dude. I know
Yeah.
you just qualified again for the Boston Marathon. So tell us, how many times is this going to be, dude? That
It's the
uh
10th time, man. Unicorn Club. It's wild.
right, right. 10th time in a row. So
Yeah.
how you typically run this one? I mean,
Say that question one more time, Mike.
what's your record time on the Boston,
Yeah.
and what's your average time?
I want to keep it. So the goal to get you had to get into Boston this year and run 5 minutes faster than your time. So there's a standard. I think that the standard's 3 hours. So I usually run like 2 hours and 50 minutes and change. So it could be 2:53,
Right.
2:55. Some years it's been 2:58, but it's still underneath that standard. And I'm 200 pounds. So it's not running is not easy for me, but is the most rewarding thing because it is actually difficult to do. Getting in a weight room and pushing 225 pounds,
Right.
pushing 225 pounds 5 times is pretty easy, you know? But
Yeah.
yeah, that kind of stuff is just do things that are hard. And I find so much enjoyment in keeping myself accountable to that standard to qualify for that race every year.
Right. That's the kicker, man, is everybody automatically sees you as a runner. Well, you're not built as a traditional runner. I mean, you're not a small guy, you're not the lanky guy or the built like the Kenyan runners and all that. You're more of a bulky, I'm a linebacker, I'm just gonna go out and run a marathon,
Yeah,
you know.
truly at our same high school as a linebacker. That's it. Yeah,
Right.
that's what I'm built for, man.
Right. And that's the key that we have. It's so much background. People don't even realize, me and you played ball at the same school, same position pretty much. And then graduated from the same college. It's a unique mindset and true blessing the way that God brought us together, man, long before any of this stuff was fruition. Here we go. And man, tell us some more about Suitcase of Courage.
Yeah, so Suitcase of Courage, founded in 2013 in Waterloo, South Carolina. We're still based out of there. We operate in all states now. We've built 14 gyms for corporations looking to, for the corporations, their culture. It's a big thing. Like when you walk into a gym at a corporation, you don't have to drive somewhere. You don't have to get stuck in traffic. You can meet the VP and you know her as the name Kim versus that's just the VP. So it really breaks down the barriers and they have a place for the people to work out together. We teach existing employees how to teach classes. So they teach yoga classes, body fit classes, couch to 5K classes, learn about heart rate. And then our flagship program was industrial athleticism, where we look at musculoskeletal injuries, lower back injuries, rotator cuff, and we look at what a job task requires from movement perspectives and muscles. And now we have a shirt that has EMG in it, so we can actually rate all these job tasks for these heavy manufacturing corporations, recommend rotation, put them on exercises for their job. They get credit on health insurance, less injuries for employers, and then higher range of motion, strength, and endurance for employees. And that's
Right.
Suitcase of Courage, man.
Right. Making sure you're treating the not only the business, man, but the employees in general,
Yeah.
taking care of the livelihood.
So happy and healthy. That's our whole goal. Because my dad worked in the cotton mill, back home, Greenwood Mills, and then
Yep.
my mom was a nurse, and they didn't have a lot of things in place then. So then I went to grad school and wrote my dissertation on employee wellness as it relates to employer benefit, and then racing triathlon all over. Started putting some of those things in motion for our actually company that helps employees stay fit and healthy and not have those injuries take place that you can prevent. You really can.
Right. It looked like Greg had a question. I didn't want to bogart on the whole conversation.
No, I was just following along and just really amazed at the amount of experience Cameron brings to the table. And you guys don't do anything small, I'll tell you that. You don't start off with a 5K, you start off with the Marine Corps Marathon. And Cameron saying he can go out and do a marathon this afternoon if that's what it takes. I mean, you guys are making some big goals and checking off your bucket list, Mike. So I'm just listening and kind of amazed at what the two of you are doing, and then the actual science behind what Cameron's doing, work wise and getting people healthy and happy. I mean, it's a pleasure to hear what he's bringing to the table.
Oh, that's cool, Greg. We appreciate. You know what? That's a good point you brought up, Mike. We need to celebrate that 5K, that 10K, that half marathon when we cross the line, because that's going to be your first 5K, 10K, and so on. So we'll smile and
Right.
laugh about that as we go. Good job,
You know,
Greg. Thank you,
that
man.
was that was one of those things, guys. In the Marine Corps, we ran a lot of long distances. It was never celebrated. It was never like, hey, we're gonna go do this. It was, hey, you put this 80 pounds of equipment on your back. I want you to go 18 miles. You dig a ditch. No, this doesn't look like a good spot. Pick that junk up again, cover that hole, and let's go do it again. It was never a volunteer, it was a voluntold. This is volunteer, brother. We get to go do this for fun, man. This
Yeah.
is exciting. Uh, you know, Cameron knows my little brother, and so I've been trying to chime him in and get him going as good as possible. He's in Palmer, Alaska right now, doing some cardiac pulmonary rehab stuff and living. Man, he is enjoying Alaska. I don't know that we're going to get him back here. Man, he's enjoying it. But Cameron, I'm trying to get him involved, so I'm going to need your help at some point to drag that dude back this way so we can actually do an event with him and beat the brakes off of him a little bit. He's getting a little rusty, man.
I don't know if marathon is his favorite thing. We'll have to figure out something creative with Jordan.
Well,
I feel like.
that it goes into what you said. It's different when you're a 300 pounder, and so he's bulked up. He's doing some more powerlifting stuff and getting back into that. It's and then he's got those little skinny gazelle legs. So I always joked around. I said, how do you build a full grown man on a kid sized leg?
All
you know
right.
it's all fun and games, right? But uh man, a lot of people don't know this. Cameron's a dedicated climber. He's climbed all over the place. Tell us a little bit about your climbing experience, man. That's the kind of stuff I find really cool.
Well, there's not many mountains near Waterloo. You know that. So
Oh, and
I moved after grad school to Portland, Oregon, and there was Mount Hood, which is the highest point in Oregon, glaciated. And really, you can see it if you've been to Portland anywhere. You're 50 miles away and you can see that mountain. And I just looked at it every day when I was going into work. And I'm like, man, wouldn't it be cool to climb that? And I started just biking out there 100 miles round trip to the lodge as a long bike ride on the weekends. And then I'm like, I got to learn how to climb. So I linked up with a group out there called what's the group called? I was in the Mountaineers there. Mazamas. My good Mountaineers are out of Seattle. Be careful there. I'm going to get beat up for that. Mountaineers are a nonprofit out of Seattle. Mazamas are the group out of Portland.
okay.
So I joined the Mazamas BSEP, which is Beginner Climbing Education Program, on Tuesdays and Thursday nights. And they would teach us everything about the ropes, how to go up, how to put in the prusik, all the knots, the climbing tools. And then we actually had to climb a big mountain with a lead. And my lead was Sepp, who was an Austrian guy and a carpenter. He was mid-50s. The guy took me underneath his wing, let me borrow all the climbing tools. And we used to just go up and climb Mount Hood on the weekends together. It's kind of how I got into it 2012. And since then, climbed all over the world, down in South America, La Cordillera Blanca, 20,000-foot peaks, middle of Africa, the Ruwenzoris, where the White Nile comes out of, seen a gorilla in the Congo in the wild. I was just in the Himalayas a couple months ago. Yeah, all New Zealand. It's been cool.
Hey, man. Small town, man, doesn't mean small minded, brother.
Right. That's right. Small town, not small opportunity. That's it.
It is what it is, man. We're gonna travel the world, man.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, I'm gonna drag you to Africa, dude. We got to get to Kenya and Tanzania.
Yeah, I've been to both of them. I've climbed Kilimanjaro, and then I've climbed 2 out of 3 highest peaks in Africa. There's still Mount Kenya left. I've been to Nairobi and all through there, and rented a car in Tanzania, and man, drove all over the place. 50 US bucks they charged. Didn't even take my passport. I just gave them a
Hey,
50 US bill. Done. Rav four.
hey, but you haven't done that with a wheelchair guy yet. So
No.
hey Greg, I may hang on to his back and make him climb like a papoose.
Man, Mike, I'll tell you what, listening to you guys, I mean, I know you got a long history, and Cameron, you're really a world class, probably 1 or 2% athlete. But as you said earlier on, you don't have the body of a, traditional marathon runner. You're making all these things happen with mental toughness, with setting a goal and accomplishing it. And I think that's a good point that we can all kind of say, hey, maybe I'm not built to do this, but my mind is going to, allow my body to be able to do things that maybe is not traditionally thought of. You're a runner, you're a mountain climber, you're a triathlete, you're a swimmer, and you don't necessarily have the body style that's traditionally meant for these things, but you have the will, the drive, and the determination to make it happen.
Yeah, just go out there and get you guys inspire me, man. Like you're out there still charging, still out there. I've seen Mike's cheers and what he does and taking people out. Like, man, what is the if we always wait for the perfect body or the perfect time or the perfect moment, you just gotta sit there. You're not gonna do anything. You're just gonna hurry up and wait. There's another military term for you, Mike. Like
Yeah.
when is the perfect time? Like some days you're gonna feel like trash. Get out the door. If we might it might be okay. I'm flying into DC and I look at my heart rate and it's like elevated. So what? The Marine Corps Marathon is that day at that time. We're going to show up and give it our doggone best. And then past that, we're going to clock out up here and we're just going to keep pushing until we can't push no more at the end of the day. That's the name of the game. And we arrive at 26.2 and then we're going to have a Coca-Cola with some good sugar, and that's going to taste great.
He's already got the celebratories going on, man. Who needs champagne? He's got a Coca-Cola in mind.
That'll be part of it, Mike. It might be a little something more, Who knows?
Hey,
Cameron, no, you made an excellent point. If not now, when? And don't be afraid to fail. And if you don't start it, you can't finish it,
Right on, Greg. Could not agree more.
That's the thing, man. What is failure if it's not a learning opportunity? Not everything is going to be crossing a finish line per se. It's just get up some days. Cameron, this is a lot of things that we try to talk to people, and we're bouncing around all over the places, which is great. But, me and Greg talk to a lot of people that go through the initial stages of a spinal cord injury, and they're trying to reevaluate their lives and figure out where they're going to go and how they're going to do. How about we start with today? Just figure out how to today put your clothes on. Tomorrow we'll figure the rest of the world out, and we'll do the whole pinky and brain. Tomorrow we're just going to take over the world.
Spot on, man. Yeah, you get lost in just thinking too big picture, just one thing at a time.
Right. Sometimes it's about just controlling your breathing. Just take a breath. No panic. Just keep pushing.
That's right. Sometimes, Mike, I just try to make it to lunch. If I'm having a bad morning, I try to make it to lunch, and then I worry about after lunch and making it to dinner.
Right. Life is what it is, man. And we can get to living, but a lot of people just exist, and I don't want to exist, man. I want to live life and see it for what it is. It's not ideal sometimes, but it is what it is. Some things we just can't change. We just have to figure out how to push past that moment. But man, Cameron, you inspire me, dude. You are always on the go. So a lot of people don't know you just bought a house out in Washington State. How'd that come to fruition? Was it something you were looking at or just pop up or, what happened?
Man, I call it base camp. You know, it's the place to gather and launch from. I
There you go.
actually am not living there at all. I have a place in Laguna Beach, California for work. So I'm in Laguna Beach full time for another year. So I got to be down there. But Port Angeles, I would be on the marketing team for them. Here's my 30-second spiel. In Washington State, everybody thinks rain, right?
Right.
It's in the rain shadow in the Olympics. So it's up there. All the rain, all the weather comes from the southeast. The Olympics scrape it off. You got the lowest glacier at 2,000 feet. You got rock climbing 5'7" after you come off this glacier, climbing Mount Olympus. You got a rainforest over to the side where the Olympics are not at. You can surf and ski within 10 miles of each other.
Right.
The town's 30,000 people. There's never any traffic. It's got a 140-mile bike trail that used to be a rail trail. And it's just super cool. And if you want to go over to Victoria, you take a boat, a ferry, and in an hour, you're in Canada having tea time because I went to grad school in England at 4 o'clock. Get your shopping done. Then you're right back to your place of peace. So I always need a place of peace and a gathering spot. And I keep going back there. I went there for 8 years. Actually, I rode my bike through there the first time around Thanksgiving from Portland to Seattle, and it wasn't raining. And all of that time was rain. I was like, what is this place? And the sun's out. And dude, I discovered a jewel there. Yeah, I've been to all 50 states by the time I was 25. And you hear about the boulders, you hear about all the adventure spots. But I promise you, in the next 5 to 10 years, you'll be hearing about Port Angeles. So
hey, you're a trendsetter all again, man. You'll have an Airbnb set right there for people coming in looking for some trekking.
Totally. If you're really on the close friends list, you'll know where the key's at. You know, that's where it's at. Just don't take your shoes off.
Well, guys, I want to mention too that, you're really good friends. You're helping each other out. And we can't do anything without friends and, people in the community helping us. Mike, you've had some local sponsors step up to help with the chair and stuff. You want to tell us a little bit about the community rallying around you too to kind of help make this happen?
Man, you hit the nail on the head, Greg. Sponsorship is huge. We run a nonprofit. We try to get back out. We want to help people with physical disabilities get back out. But man, everything is so expensive. We've had some really good sponsors, corporate sponsors step up. But we could always use more sponsorship. We've had Axe Fellowship. We've had some guys out of Texas. We've had multiple different groups really jump up, and mine and Cameron's alma mater at Lander University has really done a lot with help publicize things and keep them going. We've got a site set up that people can keep track of how we're doing throughout this thing. We'll tag the link at the end of it, but really, rollingthemarathon.com is where we're publicizing everything for the marathon. It's been an exciting opportunity just to see how many people are coming out. Like I said at the beginning of it, how many people have said this has inspired them. Oh, we're going to be doing something similar. But it's unique. It doesn't matter if one person's ever done the marathon from a chair. Each one of them is going to be unique. Each chair is unique. And like you said before, Greg, we could have 10 people in the room with the same spinal cord injury, all going to be different. It's all about what nerves are affected. So it's really, man, it's an opportunity. We would love some more sponsorship. It's not always about just saying, hey, throw me money. It's not about that at all. Matter of fact, most of the time, me, equipment we buy or do, I don't use it. I make sure that we have it on place so somebody else can use it. It's the same thing with this chair. Me and my wife decided early on we couldn't afford to go out and buy, a one-off chair that's $7, $8, $10, $12,000 for this one-time event. So we reached out to Spartan Wheel Chariots and built this chair, and we want to donate it after we're done to somebody else to be able to use in an event. And what better story than to have a guy that's paralyzed build a chair for a guy that's paralyzed to go run off in this race. I'm just blessed that I've got a motor in Cameron Dorn that's a Ferrari where most people are in a Pinto. I've got a guy behind me that's willing to sacrifice. You talk about brotherhood, and this guy's willing to put a pound of flesh in, literally. And my job is to make sure that I don't totally wreck him because this is his livelihood, you know. But yeah, sponsorship, man, we would love to have more people come on board and really get behind what we're doing because this is diversity. This is inclusion. This isn't talking about it. This is doing it. Don't talk about it, be about it.
And just the amount of people in the community that you both are touching and getting the awareness out. We're going to celebrate every mile of this. And then when it's done, you're going to donate this chair to somebody else who's going to maybe do a different event, maybe in their local community. And how many people are they going to inspire and touch with that? And then they're going to donate it. I mean, this can be just an amazing thing that touches so many people.
Yeah. That's what it's about, man. We just it sounds cliche, but at the same token, man, I just want people out of their head, out of their home, doing whatever. And I know Cameron does that, man, with the Suitcase of Courage, with so many other avenues, and just his livelihood, just the job that he's doing right now, same thing. Just keep pushing, man. Just keep going. It's not terminology. It's a life adage. But man, I've truly enjoyed being able just to chat this up a little bit. But there's a ton of other stuff going on. Cameron, when you what all do you have going out to close this year?
And so, I mean, it's in this right now, the next 2 to 3 weeks are the busiest. I'm working with an Irvine Scientific, a big biotech company. There's 800 people there, and they've had a lot of musculoskeletal injuries. So we're actually redesigning the process. As soon as I get off that flight back from Arizona and drive, we're meeting and looking at their whole process with the EMG. Everyone in manufacturing is going to wear the garments. And then we actually designed that to kick off the program and make the move in early January. So my goal is to get only on one flight in December, and that is to come back to Waterloo, South Carolina, and spend Christmas with my family. Stay in Irvine, knock out that work that needs to be done, and then come back and kick it off. I pushed off. There was a company in Texas that really wants us, so there's no way we can do it. I'll be there in February. So I have to stay grounded, stay in place. That doesn't mean I can't pick up my surfboard, surfboard and run behind the hills, Mike, but big days in Irvine.
Well, man, I know you got other things to be doing, man, and you're a busy guy. I appreciate you taking time out of your day. And man, I expect we're gonna bang this thing out. But man, in December, dude, I better at least get a phone call. Merry Christmas. I'm in South Carolina. Let's break bread. If we get a chance, high five if we can. You know how it is. But man, I'm excited about this thing, Cameron and Greg. I truly appreciate you always being such a gracious host, man, and being able to celebrate life. Thank you guys again for just being able to get on and chat people up a little bit. Cameron, is there any other tell people how they can get in touch with you? Some links we can share?
Yeah, I think the best thing, if you want to find out more about the Suitcase of Courage, thesuitcaseofcourage.com, or a simple search on Google will pull us up number one. I'm on the social media channels. I'm at the age where I don't have the TikTok and all that. I got a Facebook. And the best thing for me, I still like a phone call. You can find that number if you want to connect at the Suitcase of Courage. And that's it, man. Just go out there and do something. Hopefully this inspires people. It gave me goosebumps, and goosebumps don't lie. When you first messaged me when I was overseas about doing it,
right?
Hey, I think the whole thing's positive across the board. More people should step out, take some chances, and just like you said earlier, Greg and Mike, go into the unknown, push into the unknown. It's fine. That's where you learn about yourself.
Right. And this is kind of a celebratory thing, Cameron. I mean, both of the Hoyt guys just passed away this year. So what better way for you to do it,
Nothing, man. That if you have not seen a video, Google or YouTube Team Hoyt for everybody watching.
Oh
Right.
man. Hey,
Hands.
I got no problem saying I'm a grown man. I'll cry every time I see it. I mean, inspirational to see this father and son team. Man, talk about hands down. These guys did it. Did it. Didn't talk about it. Got it done. But
Pioneers, man. We're just following their footsteps.
right, right. We're just following in the shadows of the gods, man. But
Yeah.
guys, I appreciate all your extra time. We'll tag a bunch of links. And man, Cameron, get after it, dude. I know you got some other stuff to do, and I'm sure you'll put in some mileage today too. That's a normal.
It's a no. Yeah. I'm gonna taper it down, man. That way I make sure I got a couple. We're ready. We're ready. Don't worry.
I got faith in you, dude. I'm excited. Greg, I appreciate it. I hope you guys have a great day. Greg, anything you want to add in before we close her out?
Just how great it was to finally meet you, Cameron, and talk on Zoom. We appreciate you coming on the podcast. I'm definitely going to be following what you guys are doing, not only in the marathon, Cameron, but what you do in the future, man. I appreciate your friendship, and it's nice getting to know you. It really is.